Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Indianapolis. Local time.
Recently we left the Golden State for Indiana. In this video, Josh will show us how to winterize an irrigation system.
Alright, so with winterizing you start by turning on the first zone to establish a vent for the system. And to verify that it's your system that you're turning off. So our supplier just gave me the advice that, especially more on bigger clients, when you have two systems right next to each other, 2 meters right next to each other, you turn the system on to make sure that you're turning off your client shut off and not the neighbors.
So you turned the water off down in the basement.
Yep, here it's in the basement, so turn the water off at the basement, then you come back out, leave that first zone on as the vent, so that when you pressurize the system, the air and water has somewhere to go, because the air and water has about 150 times the energy when it's compressed that it normally does. So if it doesn't have a vent, you have the potential of something blowing up and in your face possibly. So now we hook up the hose to the system.
Okay, go ahead.
Alright, so you hook up your system to whatever blowout port you have accessible. Bring your Teflon tape with you to put it back on when you're done. This will also drain out part of your system. In this case, I have a Winterize system as well. And this 90 just takes some of the stress off of the hose instead of it being straight out. This takes stress off of the backflow assembly in the hose. Alright, and just be careful as you're doing this because the plastic has more flex than the metal does, so that you can break fittings if you screw it in too tight.
Mm-hmm.
Because these hoses have compressed air coming out of it, it's hot, so the hoses get hot, and you want to be careful what you're draping it across. Minimize it being on the grass as much as possible, and other plant material so it doesn't burn it. system 2 or 3 times until the water you see is coming out of the heads there like a fine mist. And at that point, it could be doing that for a while. So you're just looking to get the bulk of the water out of the pipes so that it doesn't have enough force when it freezes to break the pipe apart. The PVC and the plastic's gonna flex a little bit, but not enough to survive a giant ice cube in it.
So we've cycled the number 2, which is in back. So right now it's blowing out the drip zones, and those drip tubing flexes more than PVC does, and so it can survive with a little bit of water inside of it. So the main goal, it's good to get all the water out, but the main goal is to get the water out of the PVC pipe that's leading up to the drip system. So if you can get all the water out, it's great, but that's the purpose of it. You have to watch for spigots and stuff too, that might be on the main line. If they're in winter areas, they're probably on the irrigation main line, like this. Make sure you blow those out so that they don't freeze. So so tell me, after you go through each zone, how many times do you go through it?
2 to 3 times. Yep.
Okay.
And just make sure that no mist is coming out. If it's still coming out fairly heavy, we'll go back and do it another minute or 2 until it stops coming out heavy. Alright, so starting the crank down process, leave a zone on so that there's still a vent, and then we go and shut the compressor off and then drain any of the last parts of the system that need drained. So if it's in the basement, drain the basement line from the backflow. If it's a meter, make sure that the meter is drained out, and if it's a drainable ball valve, drain that. So that way all of the water's out of freeze area. Open both of the test cocks, open both of the drains, or open both of the shutoffs halfway so that so that it doesn't freeze inside the ball valve. And we'll unhook this. The Winterize system has a check valve in here, so I'm gonna pull this off to drain the water out. That's a wrap.
We did 3 blowouts this day, and they were mostly the same process. But next we're going to take you to the second job and show you a couple of things that were different from this job. The first job was on municipal water. This next job is on well water.
So on well systems, typically, at least in this area, the irrigation tap is going to be right next to the well, and the blowout port as well as the shutoff is going to be right there.
Thanks for coming along with us today on these 2 jobs. Next time on the third winterizing job, we'll show you some things to know about when using pond and lake water for irrigation, along with some do's and don'ts. Be sure to like and subscribe and click the bell to get notified of the upcoming videos each Monday. Thanks for watching.